Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's David. I'm the guy running Pacific Northwest College Baseball Report here on Twitter. Doing something a little bit different. Going to do a player interview. We have Umpqua starting pitcher Carson Angeroth. Going to talk to him a little bit about his journey to Umpqua, how the team's done this season, and then where he's heading next after this season. And we'll touch on some super regional stuff and get to know a few of his teammates. So let's jump in. All right, Carson, thanks for being on.
Of course.
So let's talk about your background a little bit. I saw it said you were born in Salt Lake City. So how'd you go from Salt Lake City to Oregon to Umpqua? So give me a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I grew up in Salt Lake, went to Cottonwood High School, played baseball there, of course, with some great guys, some good coaches. And then after high school, I actually moved out to New York City, was going to play baseball at a school out there. Ended up kind of not working out. Came back that winter, kind of around Christmas of 2019, and was looking for a place to play. Got in contact with some old summer ball coaches who knew Coach Robbins, had good things to say about him, and luckily they had some good things to say about me. And so they were able to kind of get us in touch, and then got me up here in the fall of 2020.
Okay. Was the plan always to be a pitcher, or did you play multiple positions in high school and then maybe in New York? Or
Yeah, high school I was a pitcher outfielder. Was not a very good outfielder.
How were you a hitter?
Average at best. Nothing crazy there either, but I could throw it all right. And so kind of coming into college baseball, I knew that pitching was probably going to be where I was going to get most of my playing time. And so I never really tried to be a two-way or anything like that. Just kind of committed myself to the role of being a pitcher.
Gotcha. What kind of pitches do you throw?
I'm a fastball, curveball, changeup guy, mostly fastball dominant, probably 60-70% fastballs, 20-30% curveballs, and then a few changeups in there.
Is there anything you're working on, a pitch you're working on, or something that you see potential in down the line with more?
I'd really love to work on my changeup this summer. I worked on it a lot last summer, and was able to get some pretty good results against some good hitters. And so I think if I'm able to develop that over this summer some more, it'll be a pitch that I gain some confidence in and am able to use.
Okay. Where are you playing summer ball at?
I'm playing for the Cowlitz Black Bears in the West Coast League up in Longview.
Yeah, we're looking to do some coverage on them this year, so we'll get to see more of you.
Perfect.
So how do you think this team is compared? So taking back to the beginning of the season, fast forward to now, what difference have you noticed from the beginning of the year just with this team to walking into Supers starting tomorrow?
Yeah, so beginning of the year, we were obviously being a newer program. We kind of had a lot of younger guys, super almost immature as far as baseball goes. And I think that a lot of the stuff we go through in the fall and a lot of stuff we go through early winter is to try and work away from that and grow fundamentally as well as obviously physically in the gym and stuff, but fundamentally and kind of mentally, especially in the game of baseball. And so I don't know if physically, our physical ability has really changed much since the fall, but I think that mentally we are a much tougher team than we were in the fall, and that's kind of given us an edge here in the season.
So I was looking through your game log. It looked like you're pretty much the starter for every series, with the exception of maybe a series here and there. Was that a defined role since day one this season, or is that something that just they put you in and you just excelled in that spot?
Yeah, so we never know kind of who's going to be doing what for the weekends until the weekend comes. In this program especially, it's never a guarantee that you're going to get playing time. It's never a guarantee that I'm going to throw game one or anything like that. And I think that just coming into each weekend with the mindset that you kind of got to earn your spot as a starting pitcher, a relief pitcher, a third baseman, whatever it is, kind of allows us to put our best guys on the field and allows those second string, third string guys to be able to compete for a spot.
Is there like you feel an extra responsibility kind of being the game, not the game one starter per se, but being the first guy out there of like a 4-game set against whoever, kind of setting the tone, and then also kind of helping tomorrow's starter and the next day's starter, what kind of pressure does that put on you, or do you thrive on that kind of pressure?
Yeah, no, I've always really thrived, I feel, in kind of higher pressure situations. I don't feel pressure necessarily in starting the first game of a series. I'm excited about it. I love kind of going in there first and kind of battling the unknowns of what the other team might throw at you.
That was going to be my next question leading into that, is that, everybody else after you gets to see the lineup one time, 2 times, 3 times through. So you're kind of going in there blind. I know you guys have data and stuff like that, but video's kind of sketchy around here too.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you, I guess, prepare for maybe a 4-game set against a team that you haven't faced before? Like this weekend, you're facing 2 teams out of your division. I don't think you've played either one of them, or have you played?
No, we're playing Lower Columbia or Skagit Valley.
Right.
We haven't played either of them in the preseason or in previous seasons at all. But in kind of preparing for playing a team you never played before, you do what research you can. You look at the numbers, and you try and learn who tends to do what. But at the end of the day, we're just going to go out there. We're going to play our game. I'm going to play my game. And then at the end of the day, like I said, you're competing against the ball. You're not really playing the other team. You're playing the ball. And so I'm going to try and do what I can with the ball and look at the scoreboard at the end, and hopefully it ends up being in our favor.
All right. So I was looking through some of the other pitching stats just on your team. So let's give some love to some teammates. You have Nathan Van Beek that's got a 3.53. Parker McMahon is holding down the back end with a .76.
Yeah.
Looks like he's striking out almost 11 per 9. So talk to me a little bit about your fellow starting pitchers and then the guys you handed off to in the back half of the game.
Yeah, no, I guess I'll start with Parker. Parker, he's really grown into his role this season. Last year he had maybe single-digit innings almost, very minimal amount of innings. And he's just really buckled down and really grinded over the last year. And I think it's paid huge dividends for him. He's gained 3-4 miles an hour, and he's got a killer slider right now that's absolutely nasty. Pairs super well with his fastball. And then Nathan, he goes in there, he competes. He's 6'7" lefty, only throws probably upper 70s, and he gets in there, he fills up the strike zone with 3-4 pitches, and really goes after guys, forces them to do something with the ball. Kind of our big thing as a pitching staff is we don't walk guys. We hate giving guys free bases. We hate giving guys a free 90 feet to first base. And so whenever we can challenge up and just put a ball in the zone, that's what we're going to do. We've got a really solid defense behind us, we feel, as a pitching staff, and we know that if we can get them to put the ball in play and swing the bat more times than not, they're going to get themselves out. So,
I'm talking about the coaches a little bit, because I know that your team ERA for the season was 3.03, which was top in the NWAC South. There you are.
I lost you for a second.
That's all good. Top in the NWAC South with a 3.03 ERA, and I believe it was 5th overall. So talking about the coaches and how much they've helped with the pitching, obviously with the pitching and overall.
Yeah, so we actually have our pitching coach. It's his first year being a pitching coach.
What's his name?
He was a catcher all through college, but he's really kind of dove in head first into trying to find stuff that'll make us better, and asking other coaches and seeing what we should be doing to keep us healthy and improve in ways that we can. But like I said earlier, it's more about the mentality piece for pitching. At least that's what I feel, and I feel like that's what our coaches feel. Physically, we probably don't have anybody who's way up there, has just insane stuff, and is just filthy with who they are as a pitcher. But I think mentally is where we really pull away from a lot of pitching staffs. And as far as like having a low ERA and stuff like that, that just comes with not walking a lot of guys, not hitting a lot of guys, and forcing them to put the ball in play.
Was there a memorable moment from this season? Doesn't have to be on the field, maybe, you know, a road trip, something like that, something that just kind of stands out that you'll kind of look back on just from this season.
From this season, let me think. As a team or as a staff or me individually, or
just a moment for the whole team, or just something that you'll remember, you know, maybe maybe something wasn't going right and something clicked or something like that.
Yeah. So before, I want to say it was the week before Thanksgiving, we had a pretty rough week of practices. We're not looking good. Guys just kind of felt like they were ready to go home and kind of be done with it for the fall, kind of cash it in. And so we switched up the plan for the week a little bit and started doing early morning kind of conditioning, I guess, running, obstacle course stuff, team, pretty much kind of team bonding exercises, I guess you could say, that kind of pitted us against each other, but also kind of brought us together in a way, you could say. I think that made a huge difference in kind of pulling us together as a team. I think that without that, it kind of would have been a superficial kind of teamwork kind of going on. But I think that allowed us to really kind of connect with each other, and kind of go through some hardships together, come out the other side, kind of as a group.
The season.
Yep.
So before we get into the Dixie State stuff, do you have any advice for any of the incoming freshmen for this year? Something that you learned along the way with the NWAC or just playing baseball in this area? 'Cause, I mean, the weather's not great. No secret. No, you know. So do you have any advice for those guys that are coming in, you know, out of high school or transferring from somewhere that's not necessarily in this area? Any advice you can give those kids?
Yeah, just be resilient. Weather is going to change, conditions are going to change, but that's baseball. I mean, you're facing a new batter every out, right? And so if that's going to change, that's a way bigger change than whether or not the wind's blowing out or the wind's blowing in or it's raining or whatever. As long as you go in there with the mindset that you want to win, and you know that guy that you're going up against is fighting for the same scholarship money at the next level that you are. I think that's the most important thing in trying to get through the NWAC and stuff like that.
Well, perfect transition. So you just signed with Dixie State not too long ago. So just give me a little bit of backstory about how that whole process shook out.
Yeah, so I've been talking with some coaches from some schools for the last little bit. Got put in contact with the pitching coach at Dixie State through my head coach, Coach Robbins, I believe. Talked with him for probably a month and a half, while the head coach, Coach Fadenhauer, was contacting some of my old coaches. He talked to my high school coach, Coach Robbins, and then my summer ball coach with Cowlitz, and I think that's it. But he talked to them, asked them about me, kind of just went through them really to kind of find out everything about me that he wanted to know. Didn't get to come see me play, unfortunately. I wish they would have. That would have been fun to kind of have them out here.
Right.
But luckily, the guys who have been working with me since 9th grade had some good things to say, and they felt comfortable enough in shooting me an offer. And that's kind of been a place that I've thought about before. I applied to Dixie in my senior year of high school, thought about going there, but ended up getting accepted to that school out in New York. Obviously to play baseball and go to school out there, but I'm super excited about it. It's a beautiful area. I love St. George. Have some friends down there, and it's not too far from home, so my parents' family will be able to come out and catch some games.
That'll be awesome.
Which is a big thing for me. So.
And you'll be visiting back up here every once in a while, right?
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, I'll have to come see the guys next year, of course. I'll always be in touch with Coach Robbins and Coach McKnight, Coach Whistler. I still talk to my high school coach when I can. I have a huge amount of respect for him, huge amount of respect for these guys coaching here. I know that what they do isn't easy at all. And so the fact that they're able to put in their time and their effort into me and helping me succeed and do what I want to do in the future it means a lot. So
a lot of the process was just word of mouth, kind of. I mean, I'm sure they got some film on you and stuff like that,
yeah.
But it was a lot of talking to this guy who talks to that guy and that.
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely. So how I've kind of seen the recruiting process for a lot of schools is they'll talk to you and they want to know who you are as a person more than who you are as a player. And so they'll talk to your head coach and they'll say, is this guy serious about wanting to come play at the next level? Is he a good student? Is he a good person? Is he a good teammate? And then after you check all those boxes, they say, how is he as a player? Could he play at this level? And so you kind of got to pass that personality kind of social mentality kind of test before you can even get considered as a ball player.
Right. Well, we'll get you out here on this. I wrote down a few kind of just fun questions. Nothing too serious. Let's have a little fun. Who's the best dancer on your team? Who's the best dancer on your team, and who thinks they're the best dancer on their team?
Best dancer on the team is probably – we don't do much dancing. We probably should do more dancing. But the best dancer on the team is probably –
I expect to see some dancing.
We'll have to find you some. I'll say Michael Friend is probably the best dancer. He's one of my roommates.
Yeah.
And then I would say Justin Hausner probably thinks he's the best dancer.
All right.
But he's not. Hopefully he didn't hear me say that. But
don't worry. I'll tag him. Don't worry.
That sounds good.
You have a pregame ritual?
Not really. I try to get up around the same time, go to bed at the same time, make breakfast, 4 or 5 eggs, some waffles, some hash browns, some sausage, show up to the field about an hour and 15 minutes before game time, if I have the choice. And then I get going on my warm-ups and stuff at about 45 minutes to game time. Excuse me. And then it's kind of away from there. I try not to psych myself up mentally before starts or anything like that.
You're not banging your head against the fence or anything like that?
No. It's I try to treat it like clockwork. I've got a job to do. I just try and go about it the same way every week, and it doesn't really matter who my opponent is. Like I said, I'm playing against the ball, so don't think too much about that. See how it goes.
Has there been a favorite place that you visited or played at this season besides your home field?
I enjoy playing at, or against anyway, Lynn Benton. I like playing those guys because they're good. They're a lot like us. They always prove to be a challenge for us. Always have good series against them. So I guess I'd say Lynn Benton.
Okay. Well, that's all I got for you, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate it.